Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we have got a little new format that we're going to be sharing with you today. Sweet Thing, why don't you explain to them the format we're doing today?
Oh yeah, we're specifically hiding, I think today on this round it's just 3 videos. We're going to handle some business here at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we want to let you know about some things that are coming up that are very important. And we're highlighting and kind of spending a little bit more time talking about some important videos that we've done recently. And we're just doing 3 today. And one of those is the Terrace garden project. So we've got some cool stuff to talk about there. So we want you to hang in there with us to watch that. But yeah, we're going to handle some business aspects right now. One thing that was on my mind was, because it happens every year, was that we've been having customers show up once again, that haven't seen your videos, or I've missed your videos. And some of these folks are Facebook, and Facebook does weird things, and we always just recommend everyone that really wants to watch the videos is just to come on over from Facebook, get on YouTube, set up your Gmail account with Google. All that's free. Your subscription is free. There is no charge. It's a much better experience, better quality. It doesn't give you all the issues like Facebook does. We have issues with Facebook.
Right. So that would be like sometimes it is like, for whatever reason, Facebook will not share all of our posts. Especially if you just watch them but you don't like or comment, because of the algorithm. They don't promote those channels, and it's not just us. I mean, it's anybody's, even your friends on your friends list. Whereas when you go to YouTube and you subscribe and you turn on the notifications, which is completely free, it does not cost you anything, then every time we release a video, which is 5 times a week, so every week for like almost 2 years now, we've done 5 videos a week, because we'll get comments of people. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we've missed you. Where have you been?" And we're like, "We're here 5 days a week."
We're working hard 5 days a week, and it's a
right.
little
Well, it's a little frustrating.
It's a little frustrating on that platform, because we work hard to get the videos out, and
nobody sees them.
That only watch us there, they don't see them. So if you catch this on Facebook today, you might please consider just
right.
If you want to watch them, that's
right.
That's all.
So that's all it is. Because every time we kind of say something like this, then people are like, "Yeah, I haven't seen your videos in a while."
Yeah,
but when you subscribe and you turn on the notifications, what's going to happen is every time we post those videos, a little thing's going to come across your front of on your phone or whatever, and it'll be like, "Hey, Gardening with Creekside just posted." So that's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just, and if you are on YouTube and watching us now, and for some reason you're not subscribed, we'd like for you to be subscribed. So just come on over. You want to be sure, on another end note, that you are capturing our emails. So if you're not signed up, because that's going to be very important to you coming up.
You're going to want to be a part of the email list. And I know we bring this up every once in a while about the email list, because there are some great exclusive deals that you get notified about when you join the email list. And so I will have a link for you. It's very simple. You just put your email in, and with those you get to see great online specials. We are going to be launching some new products here in the next couple of weeks that are very exciting. And y'all, it is never too early to start thinking about next year's garden. I know maybe if you're like us and you're still quite warm and still gardening, but next year's annuals are soon going to be available to pre-order.
Yeah, so we're getting all the new ones on the website. They don't have stock or anything ready to buy, but we are getting them theirs for your viewing and checking out, and there's always that please notify button there. So that lets you know when it is available for purchase.
Because we will load the website really before we even make a public announcement that you can pre-order. And not that we are still adding inventory to the website. So if you go there looking for something like one of the new introductions and you don't see it, just hold your horses, just be patient. It's coming. It takes a minute minute to load all the product details and all the information onto the website, but that will be, all that information will be on the website. So if you missed, like say last year, Super Bina pink cashmere, and you really want pink cashmere this year, go ahead and go to the website on pink cashmere's on page and click the notify me, you know, when in stock, or whatever the verbiage is, and you can put your email in, and as soon as we put inventory in there, then you can order to your little heart's content, and it will arrive to your doorstep in the spring of 2025.
Yeah, because those, whenever it is, November, December, whenever we do launch the pre-sale, it's important to us because that helps us, you know, grow more, so more can have availability to the stuff.
Right.
And you're, you know,
it helps us gauge.
It's a plant,
right, but it
know,
does help us gauge like the demand for certain plants, right? And so that way we are well stocked, not only for the pre-order, but also for if you come to us in May and you want pink cashmere, that we still have pink cashmere to be able to sell you and send to you.
Yep,
right.
That's the plan.
That is the plan. Let's see. Oh, and when you go to the website, y'all, that website has got all sorts of different features. So you can search by your growing zone. You can search by like deer resistant plants, or if you want a fragrant plant. There are so many different kinds of filters and categories that you can search by on the website. We literally meet with our website folks every 2 weeks to talk about how can we improve the website, what are certain things that we can do. When you also, we haven't even talked about this, honey, when you come to the garden center, we have now gotten our point of sale system. Our POS is the same both at the garden center and online. So once you're in our system, you will have an account. So if you order from the website, you have an account, and if you come to the garden center, will ask you if you have an account. The fun thing about this is for you, I personally love this as a gardener, I do it on color blends all the time, is that you can go back and look at past orders. So if you're trying to remember what you ordered last year, you're like, well, I know I got pink cashmere, but I didn't get quite enough. I need some more. You can go back and look at your past orders and say, okay, well, last year I only got 5. This year I need 10. I do that with, you know, plant companies all the time because I'll forget what I ordered. And so now under your account, it has all your order history, so you can go back and look to see exactly what you got and when you got it, all of that fun details. So that's just a nice little feature for the customer to have as well. So just thought I'd throw that out.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about this before we did the video. We're working on the points system.
Yes.
So I did approve it today.
Yes.
So that will be launching soon.
I've been after him for a while to do this because basically it's like a reward system. So both here at the nursery and online, again, if you're under that account, of course, the more money you spend, the more perks you get. So we will have a point reward, like a loyalty reward program is what it's actually called.
Again, that's another reason as to why you want to get signed up to emails, so you know when all this is taking place. And you know, just like we have a tiered sale coming up, and you want to be notified ASAP of this. This is going to be a tiered sale, shrub sale coming up, because it is October. It is go time. You know, there's a lot of areas that can
be planting.
You know, if your ground is not frozen in, you can put a shrub in the ground. The shrub from here can come slightly dormant because we are starting to cool off and leaves are coming off. I've had a few comments about leaves coming off, and it's more than likely just the plant's going dormant.
Right.
And you know, we have, I don't know, Jenny and I have talked about it. We may, because it'd be a great time if you're in the south or in warmer climates, you know, planting a dormant hydrangea would be a really good idea.
Yeah, you want to plant your hydrangeas now. If you're in zones, I would say 7B and higher, you want to plant your hydrangeas now, not in end of May, June, July.
All our stuff's in our greenhouse. Our greenhouse is warm. Everything still has leaves. It's just that some plants really start to kind of check out, and they go to growing
like
roots.
I can think of like you know, like for example, like Scentlandia. It's one that's gonna it's gonna turn its burgundy colors, and then it's gonna drop its leaves. Some of our hydrangeas are you know, already starting to go a little bit dormant. So as long as you have that strong, healthy root system, which they do, then don't freak out. about the foliage. And again, you can always do the bend test, right? So even if you get a Scentlandia and it has only maybe 2 leaves on it, take the stem and bend it. If it bends, it's good to go. Now, if it immediately snaps, then, give us a call. But that's just something, I do that all the time. We had a Japanese maple that had been in the ground for almost 2 years, and it just suddenly completely defoliated. And I thought, oh my gosh, is it dead? And every week I go and I take the limbs and I pull it back, and they're very pliable. She just was tired, and she was like, I'll see y'all later. So yeah, she's not dead. She just went dormant.
Yep.
All right, so we have the 3 videos that we are going to discuss today, and we have all sorts of fun topics to go over with you on these 3 videos. So the first one is when you and I were in the signature garden together, and we released that the 2nd annual Creekside Signature Experience is going to be happening next, I always get this wrong, June 21st of 2025. That sounds weird to say, 2025. Anyway, so that is the first video talking about the signature experience. So, first of all, do you want to give a little overview about like what is the signature experience? For those of the people who don't know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very intimate time, a time to be able to learn a lot, because we're bringing in education that you're normally not going to be around on a regular basis here at Creekside, other than, ourselves and our staff if you're here to buy shrubs, but it's another level. That's why it's called a signature experience. A lot of with the time, and we have catered meals. We have the luncheon, the snack, the pre-breakfast stuff.
We feed you well. Food's important here in the South.
Where we are, where we bring in a big tent, and we'll have this hand-catered meal with.
It's just lovely, yeah.
So it's lovely cocktail hour. So there's a lot of perks that go into it. Gifts, different things that happen.
So we do, and we do things that we don't even like showcase. Like last year, our guests had no idea that we were doing all these great giveaways, and so we did at dinner, before dinner, we did all these great giveaways. But you get behind the scenes tours that you would never get. While of course you can come to the signature garden at any time for free, there are certain things like we will be going up to production. You will get to come to the house, and you get to tour everything here at the house. You just don't get to go in the house, but you get to tour everything here at the house. And so it is it's a pretty big event, and last year we had 50 guests. This year we're opening it up to 60 guests. So tickets are available. You can buy them directly on the website. We just had somebody from Dallas, Texas sign up yesterday. So that's very exciting, and it's fun because we get to stay in contact with these folks who came last year. Jerry just talked to one on the phone last week, so we get to make these personal connections with you, and we get to hang out with each other for a whole day. So let's get to some of those comments on that. So this was from Susan. She says, OMG. You are taking on such a year of work. I used to plan conferences with vendor exhibit halls, etc. And it was a great deal of work. I did this in addition to my regular job, but like you, I wanted to give everyone in our state and beyond a chance for education and networking they normally didn't get. Thank you. I may not be there at your event, but admire what you do and wish you a successful experience. Mm-hmm. So when we're trying to explain to people that don't quite get what the signature experience is, it's basically like a day-long wedding reception.
Yeah.
It's kind of that level.
Yeah, and maybe, even more so.
Well, yes.
Because you're spending so much time with folks and individuals and teaching and getting them experienced in different aspects of the business that you would not get if you just come, when you're just coming on normal business hours. Right.
In fact, speaking of, so Bunch Christopher 4824 says, we are signed up again. Looking forward to actually working in the planting machine area.
Very good. See? That is
So
awesome.
we do. So last year, after our guests, we gave them a couple of days to go home and breathe. And then we sent them a questionnaire of like, you know, what did you love? What would you like to improve? What can we do different? How can we make this a better experience for you? And folks were saying, we got quite a few people who wanted to work the potty machine line. So that's what we're going to do. So we are going to put them to work for sure. And then, okay, so in that video too, I'm trying to make sure I get all my questions. Oh, yes, I didn't do this one. It wasn't really a question, it was more of a comment. So one of our guest speakers is going to be Marshall Dirks. And so Marshall is, I always get his title wrong. What is he?
He's Vice President of Marketing for Proven Winners.
Vice President of Marketing for Proven Winners. And Marshall, I tell you, he has the most magnetic personality, and so he will be here speaking, spending the day with us, talking with you. He would love to talk about your gardens, to talk about all things Proven Winners and all sorts of things. So he will be here as one of the speakers.
And that's part of the signature experience, because it's not, Marshall is not going to be the only one just here.
No.
Representing other brands and whatnot. So
Yes.
when you get here, that's not a normal business operating type day.
No.
You know, so you'll have multiples of them.
Yes.
That will be here to answer questions and just to kind of talk. You
Yeah.
know, just talk about life,
Just
talk about gardening, whatever.
Regular old people.
Yep.
That's
hang
right.
out with us through all the rotations and
Yep.
And answer questions and all that jazz.
Yes.
That's an extra level of hands-on.
It is. So after we talked about the signature experience in that video, we did like a garden tour. And some y'all were so kind and so generous with your comments about the signature garden. Stacy says, love you guys, your nursery and your videos. I wasn't sure if this was ever done, but after your last flood, when all those plants got swept away
Yes.
to the creek, did y'all ever go check to see where they landed or no?
That was not possible. No.
Stacy, honey, they gone. They just gone. Like, we never found a pot. We never found. I did find like maybe 2 very mutilated root balls of a plant that were stuck in like a tree on the creek bank. But literally, when I say that they were gone. There was no finding them at all.
So, and it's just like what we said. We said the people, you know, here, our customers, family, it was such a rare event because we just went through Helene and we got more rain, but more rain over a period of time. And then that morning of the hurricane, when it really got here, Helene, there was water that came over like it normally does at the culvert, fills over and does its thing. It's just the way it goes. This started way up the creek, and this massive 7 inches of rain in 20 to 30 minutes, and like when we said it was a river, it was a raging river.
It was a flash flood.
That was almost coming through that, because the shrub light's almost 60 feet wide. So almost the entire thing was full of water.
Right.
So that was what we were dealing with.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right.
We'll probably never see it again.
Please, Lord, never. Yes. So Nancy Patterson says, the signature garden is still looking beautiful. I just love the location where you planted it with the pond and the trees in the background. It reminds me of a lovely park and that fountain. Seriously, my dream fountain. And the reason I chose that is because that is why we put the signature garden where we did, is that we wanted and want folks to come to the nursery and just to be able to experience nature. And to see, you know, we had some ladies, it was 4 sisters that were here on Saturday, and they were here at the end of the day, so it was very quiet. And they were just sitting, and they could hear the crickets, they could hear the birds, they could hear all the things, and they were like, it is so peaceful and quiet here, and that is what we want.
Yeah.
Whether you come for the signature experience or you just come to experience Creekside, that is the difference. This is not your normal garden center.
It's not your normal garden center. And I get all these vendors and I got all these people coming here and try to give me all these opinions. And where's your sign at? Where's the sign? Are you coming down that gravel road? It seems like you're not in the right place. And well, that's exactly what we want.
Right.
you know, is that when you get here, you're in a different place. That was always the goal from day one, and always will be. You know, and it has like proven itself over and over and over again that it gives a great experience.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, absolutely. In that garden tour, we highlighted the Blew My Mind of Volvulus because it still is absolutely spectacular in the signature garden. And Rachel Potter says, it's so funny you said that about a volvulus. I was looking around my garden in central Mississippi this week, and I have several of those that have become the most beautiful, gorgeous, dependable, low-maintenance ground covers in the areas that they're planted. Could not have said it better myself. Went out and bought a tray of 10 at the garden center yesterday to dot around my beds to give me even more of that dependable color for next year. That is one of those plants that I think here in the South generally is so underused. It is, oh my gosh, blew my mind of Volvulus.
Yeah, it is. And just to kind of give you an idea of how hot it wants it. I mean, it can grow in lots of different areas in the United States once it gets warm enough.
Right.
But in our greenhouses, when we're growing it, when we start getting it in February and March, it just sits there. Yes, we're running heat and all this and everything, but it's not the same type of warm heat that the sun produces once we get to April. And that's really when it starts to kind of grow and take off and fill the pot. When it leaves here, it's not going to have filled the pot. It's just, that is just the way it is, you know. So it's that just shows you how much heat it can take, and it wants it.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about plants that are doing great in the signature garden still to this very day. Angie says that Cleome is, Cleome, so huge because it was a 3-gallon plant. Both Cleomes are beautiful. Love your gardens. So in the gardens, we have the 2 Cleomes that Proven Winner has. We have Senorita Rosalita, which is in the interior part of the garden. And then we have Senorita Blanca, the white one, that is in the nook area. And they're 3-gallon plants because we were planting them for in anticipation of the wedding that got moved after the flood. But y'all, in the signature garden, those are not 3-gallon plants. That was one single plant that was as a grande. When Marshall came to visit us a couple weeks ago because he was in town, and he was like floored with the Cleome.
Yeah.
And every time we had a truck delivery, like a shrub delivery last week. First time the truck driver had ever been here from the nursery, and he was like, what are those pink plants? He said, those are stunning. That was Senorita Rosalita. I mean, if you want a great, dependable plant that gives you some height and color, those Cleomes are insane.
And you know, we can only do so much here as the grower in a grande little cup. So when Jenny's talking about, we took a grande little cup and put it in the ground. It turned into this 3-gallon massive looking thing that looked like it belonged 3-gallon, but it started with a little cup. We can only do so much with that, and it will look like it needs to get out fast.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's so good. It's because it has such a vigorous root system.
Yes.
Yeah, which I have found for us, it does much better in the landscape. Unless you have some sort of giant pot, you definitely want to put that in the landscape.
Landscape is #1 choice, and landscapers should really think about a backdrop as a backdrop to properties.
Yeah,
with this.
Stunning.
It'll make the customer happy.
Yeah. So we had the last thing here on this video was from Eva, and Eva, I was just gonna let you know, is from Sweden. So we talked about, you know, the year that the signature garden had gone through, and she says, wow, how many things can go wrong? God bless you for just working on and on with a smile. Lots of love from Sweden. That garden's been through it this year.
It has, and that was, we were expecting, it was, they called
Debbie. It was Debbie.
Debbie. Debbie was before that. This was this tropical storm. They kept calling it a tropical storm.
Oh, it was the depression in it. That's what.
It was not like
the cyclone or whatever it was.
Technically,
yeah.
Whatever, how the weather pattern, it came in looking like a hurricane off this coast of South
But it was
Carolina.
never named.
It was never named. And
it flooded North Carolina.
Technical,
down east.
Mess.
Yes, that's right.
And we did just fine. We got some wind and whatnot, but then after that, that's when the lean came.
Yes.
You know, it's just been.
And then
So
the
we were
army worms.
fortunate. You know, army worms.
Yes.
Army worms all over the southeast. So yeah, I expect it to be better next year.
I don't want to say, you know, how can it be worse? Because
Oh yeah, it is
there's
getting
always
wiped out.
ways, but we don't even want to talk about that at all. The next video up on the list is the whole terrace garden project. So we're not even going to talk about one video because this whole terrace garden project has a whole playlist. So you can go look at the whole playlist from the very, very, very beginning when we first introduced it till up till what it looks like right now, which is essentially it is completed. We just have to revamp, do some moving plants around as far as within the two cottage garden beds, but the construction part of it is done. We just have a little bit of landscaping left to do on that, but that project really is all Jerry's fault. So because it all started back in the winter time. It was winter when Vago contacted me and was like, hey, we have these new garden boxes. Would you want to use them? Do you have a space where you could use them? Absolutely. So they sent us these 5 beautiful boxes to replace our boxes that were falling apart. And then Jerry is very much he's the dreamer, the visionary. He always dreams these great, grand ideas. And so he just kind of took that area and said, well, if we're going to be putting in new boxes, well, let's just make it, you know, a little bit better. But also because there were some issues as far as the slope. We were starting to have some wash on the back side, and so we needed to fix that. And then the cottage garden, we knew we wanted to kind of tweak a little bit.
In front of that and washing out the steps and
yes,
that kind of stuff. So I knew that say, we're going to do this. I want to do it right, and I don't want to do it again. So, and then knowing that we were getting dark colored boxes, that Oxford color from Belgar was going to look really good. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was the bulk of the design. And I've always wanted to go down the driveway to get rid of the metal edging. Yep. And create a bed there for more plants or annuals or color, seasonal color, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a big project that was successful. Yes.
So early on in the project, we removed a crepe myrtle that was up there. That we did not buy this crepe myrtle. We had bought 3 crepe myrtles. It turned out that pink crepe myrtle was a wrong color. It's supposed to be white. We moved it up there before we ever even thought about doing anything up there. I mean, this was like, oh my gosh, y'all, like 15 years ago. I mean, it was like a long time.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. And the crepe myrtle was just causing some problems. And honestly, I just didn't like the crepe myrtle. So Beth says, do you not like crepe myrtles? I just seen a bunch in Long Island and they were beautiful. You know, Beth, when they're blooming, they are gorgeous. But to garden around them, at least in my experience, is nightmare, because as soon as you have a crepe myrtle that's even semi-established and you dig a hole, yep, within 20, 30, 50 feet of that, you have suckers that pop up all over the place. Little baby crepe myrtles everywhere, and they'll come up right through the middle of your plants. So for someone who professionally gardens and is constantly in the flower beds, adding plants, doing this and doing that, it is a major nuisance. So I've pretty much said no more crepe myrtles on this property, because even though that crepe myrtle is gone, we are having suckers pop up yeah, like in the middle of the firelight hydrangeas, which is like a good 20, 30 feet away. So yes, I was very happy to get rid of that thing. Yep.
Yeah, easy peasy.
When we started the project, we weren't really sure what we were going to call this garden. I couldn't think of a name. And then Teresa, you were the one. You said it's going to look great. What about calling it the Terrace garden? Thanks for showing us all the steps. The prep work is so important and takes time. So yes, thank you. Sometimes
that's where it came from.
Yeah. That's where it came from. It came from you, sweet viewers, because and there's another comment in here too. I'm just going to get into that here in just a second. But going back to the crepe myrtle, Cheryl says, how will you address the runners from the crepe myrtle? We had one removed early spring and are now battling the runners. So what I'm using is I always get it wrong, the brush and stump killer. which is it's a concentrate. So when you have the little suckers come up, I just cut them because they're thinned. So I just cut them, and then I have a little paintbrush that I paint that on the fresh cut, and they don't come back. I did it underneath the Natchez crepe myrtles in the front yard. Everything that I painted has not come back. Now I do have new ones, but the old ones have not come back. So it definitely does work. So that's what I'm doing. And I kind of like choose an afternoon or a time, and I literally just walk the whole garden and do them all at one time because it's just easier to take care of them. And plus we have like poplar trees or walnut trees that have gotten too big that I can't pull out. So I use it on that as well. Yep. So that works really well. So there were so many comments, like Sam's comment says, when Jackson lay down on the ground to divert the flood waters, the flood in May, I knew his heart was totally committed to your family and Creekside Nursery. His love of operating the machinery and involvement in construction projects is a joy to watch. Because Jackson was in with us on this whole project, and I think this is when we were laying the steps up to the chicken coop, and he was in the various machinery working with you. But he's 14 and a half, and that boy, he's pretty darn good in that machinery.
Yes, does a good job.
He does do a good job.
Yeah, he and I have been working on the drainage project in behind production. We put in 500 feet of pipe together and had it, we just working the equipment in different ways, which we plan on moving a lot of dirt together. Mm-hmm. So I'll be in the loader and he'll be in the excavator.
Yes. The dynamic duo in the machinery. Delane says, as soon as steps up to the chicken coop was mentioned, I thought, put them outside the wall. When Jerry mentioned natural steps with stones, I gave him a thumbs up. Gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
And that probably, like, especially at night when the landscape lighting is on, I think that's a lot of people's favorite part are those steps.
Mine favorite. It looks so nice.
There's something just soft and romantic and fun about those steps.
Those came together really nice.
They did come together really nice. Dawn says, love your channel and I'm so envious of your garden. So, Dawn, this is all you, sister. I was like, yes, as soon as I saw your comment. Because we had to remove a large crepe myrtle, not crepe myrtle, we did, loropetalum, that left us a giant hole in our green giants, right? So it was Dawn, you little smart thing, you, says, have you thought about putting a very large pot in the hole left by the shrub you removed? Something the same size as the pot the Chinese fringe tree is in. I think you could have a lot of fun planting up the pot with annuals or ornamental grasses. It would quickly fill the spot. Just a thought. Have a great weekend. Genius. So that's what we did. So we got that nice big jumbo jardiniere. Yes, and it being in that gray color, looks really nice. So, yes. And then, throughout this whole entire project, what's been so much fun is when Jerry puts up the drone. So Barbara says the drone footage is so clear and shows everything at once. I like that. Thank you, Jerry. Your skill is a wonderful asset to your property.
Yeah. You wreck a couple of them and you learn how to do it.
This is what, drone number 3 we're on?
Yeah, and that only happened like last year. All of a sudden I started wrecking drones.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's done really well, and of course the editing that goes in behind that to put the footage together to make it look well.
But it's hard to show everything from the ground level. I think that's what's so cool about the age that we live in, is that we actually have the accessibility to own a drone to capture images from the sky, so you can really get a perspective of, if you're not here.
See the perspective of the lights and everything.
It was, even we loved that.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was neat.
Yeah. And then Kiwi Designer says, Jenny, does nothing intimidate you? I agree all these new garden areas are exciting, but seriously, I get weak in the knees just thinking about the time required to maintain garden and landscape zones for a single acre. Not to mention I'm not running a business and raising 3 great kids. Kudos, my friend, you're a marvel. Well, no, I'm not. You're very sweet, but that's just how we live. Jerry, he coming from a business background, has always said, if you're not growing, you're dying. So we just kind of have that mentality of, you know, yes, rest is absolutely vital and important, and our Sundays are a day of rest for sure. And we have every afternoon where we have our afternoon, you know, coffee or cocktail time, and rest is very important, but so is work. Right?
Work is very important.
Yeah, especially if you
can't do
own.
any of all this or anything that you want to do without working.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what's part of lacking in some of the younger crowd is understanding that you can have your trips and you can have your time off and all this, but you've got to put in quality work.
Yeah, work before play.
You know, and it takes a lot of work to run a business. I don't care what business it is. If you're running a business, and business owners understand this, you know, small business owners, that we work all the time.
Yep. Yeah,
You know,
we do.
It's our life, and it's just what we do, and we enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you'll be fortunate if you can get employees to, you know, come along with you in that.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Michael Malone, the color of the garden boxes is a lovely contrast to your house siding. I was a little concerned about the pavers too. Gravel is a nice soft look.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah.
So we ditched the permeable pavers.
Yeah, that number one, they got here, they were rated for a driveway, so they was really thick. So then I got to thinking about it. Even after that, I just really didn't need them. And two, the gravel would provide more drainage for us, anyways. And to have put them in, it would have required at least another 10 inches of soil to be removed to get the correct drainage underneath the permeable pavers.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And it was just something, we just changed gears on it, and it
right, and that's just how we roll. When we do projects, we adapt as things come along, and we just change. So Kim says, this video came at the perfect time. I've been looking everywhere for an extra tall raised planter. Thanks to you, I found exactly what I wanted. Thank you for providing the link. So those boxes from Vago, I mean, they are the extra tall modern garden boxes, and they are tall, but that's what I wanted so that I don't have to bend over.
Yeah, easy to grab.
It is. It's easy to grab. It's easy to garden. So whether you have mobility issues or whatever it may be, they're great, and I cannot wait to be planting really in them come next spring. We're going to do tons of spring flowering bulbs in December, but and plant them so that they'll be ready in the spring, but it won't be until, you know, next April or May before I get to actually garden in them. So that's going to be fun for sure. And then going back to, we kind of talked about it before about the lighting. Jolene, it says, OMG, Jenny, the terrace garden lighting is absolutely stunning. Thank you, Jerry, for your awesome drone footage. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I shot it in two different lights, and the sun was going down, so you kind of had a little more. You could see more of the landscape, and then let the sun go down further, so we could see more of the light. But once the drone is up at night and it's dark, it loses all of its avoidances, so it can't see things on the side. So you have to be
very careful,
and you need to fly high above the trees. And
yeah,
if you're flying in low, you need to know where you're going.
Yeah, and you got it back nice and safe and sound. So there you go.
Really good.
Yes. And then CC Marie says, Terrace Garden is looking incredible. I know you're so happy to have the hardscape part complete. The slab pathway is absolutely magical. I can't believe how those perennials have filled in already. Lighting is beautiful, and you're right. That fig deserves her own spotlight too.
Yeah, it's going.
And it's coming. We have one.
Here, I just haven't put it on.
We just have to put it on.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that was kind of that project, and then moving on to last but certainly not least is the video where we partnered with our friend Greg Newald of Power Planner and Miss Heidi Punky Brown from Illinois, who is a dear friend of Greg's. And Heidi was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer 5 years ago. She is officially what she calls a unicorn because she has survived 5 years past her her stage 4 diagnosis, and so she is a rarity. And Heidi is a rarity indeed for all the most wonderful reasons. But we partnered with Power Planner. Greg was the one who really brought it to our attention because October obviously is, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but there is very little funding and research that actually goes towards the stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And stage 4 is if you die of breast cancer, then it's because you are in stage 4. Stages 0, 1, 2, and 3 are very treatable and very curable. Stage 4 is not so much, and it only gets 3% of all breast cancer research funding. And so we partnered with them and Medivivor. Medivivor is an organization that raises money for that stage 4 breast cancer research. So 100% of Medivivor's fundraising goes to that stage 4 research. And so that is why we partnered with them. And we donated 2 tickets to the signature experience to be raffled off, auctioned off, and it was a massive success as far as that goes. So raised a lot of money for metastatic breast cancer research, and so that is the premise of the video, right? And got such wonderful, overwhelmingly positive, supportive comments in that video. I mean, both.
Yeah, it was very positive.
It was wonderful. And obviously in that video, Heidi shares her story of how she faithfully got her mammogram every single year, had just had one, 8-9 months before she found the lump, and had already at that point spread to her adrenal glands, her bones, it was all over her body. And so a lot of, was not able to detect her breast cancer because she had such high breast density. And so that is Heidi's platform that she talks about, is for women to understand what their breast density level is and then what that means for you moving forward and talking to your doctor. And so here we go. Yep. So Glenda says, although I have a hard time watching these videos about breast cancer, as I'm a breast cancer survivor of 7 years, I commend you for doing this great service. Prayers for Heidi and those going through diagnosis and treatment. And we had so many people comment that said, I'm a breast cancer survivor, or my mom is, or my sister is, or my aunt, or whoever is. And so just bringing the awareness and talking about breast cancer and trying to take that stigma away from this kind of diagnosis.
Right.
And speaking about taking away those stigmas, Ron says breast cancer occurs in men as well. Very true. Dear friend in Lancaster, South Carolina just had surgery and awaiting oncology results. He was embarrassed for people to know this. He is the second male I've known with this. Unfortunately, the first man died at an early age. All males that detect a tumor should seek treatment immediately. And that is absolutely true, because while it is, obviously a lot less common for men to get breast cancer, it absolutely can happen, and take away that stigma and that embarrassment, because that embarrassment can kill you. So if you don't go get yourself checked, right? Get yourself checked immediately, and let's get it taken care of, right? And then Joanne says, this message is so important. I'm a 5-year breast cancer survivor. The kind of cancer I had became treatable because of cancer research. My doctor told my husband and I, had I come in with this kind of cancer 1.5 years before, they would have told me there was nothing they could do for me. Go home, get your life in order. I'm so thankful for the new breakthroughs being made. We'll be praying for Heidi and her family. She's a fighter. She is. She's a spunky punky. I'm thankful for Gardening with Creekside and all that you do. Began watching during my recovery. Love you guys. And that's why Heidi is so vigilant and outspoken about her battle, is so that more research can be done, because she said kind of the same thing. She is now on treatments that did not exist when she was diagnosed, and that is all because of the research and groundbreaking information and treatments that have come available since she was diagnosed. Let's see. Again, here we go. Okay, well, I think we just did that one, the same thing. There we go. Sorry, I was getting a little mixed up there. Sunny, at 5 minutes, 37 seconds. Glad to hear Mediviber is turning the 3% to 100% metastatic breast cancer research. My aunt died at age 31 from metastatic breast cancer. And so that is, y'all, it is, and not only if you have diagnosed as stage 0, because you can be a stage 0, 1, 2, or 3. I think it's 30% of people who survive breast cancer the first time, it can come back, and at that point, a lot of times it's at stage 4. So it's very, very important for that research money to go for stage 4 cancer research, so that it can then help those stages 3, 2, 1, and 0 below. And then these were the kinds of comments that we love. This is what Heidi wanted. This was her goal in doing this. It's from Diane. Thank you for this PSA. I'm going to get a mammogram and spread the word about density. Big or small, let's save them all. I love it. And then this one from Catherine. I'm a month overdue for my mammogram and I'm scheduling today. I had no idea you needed additional diagnostic tests for dense breast tissue. This is incredibly helpful. Thank you so much for sharing this story to help protect us all. Yes, and I am right there with you. Again, Leanne, thank you. I'd never heard of checking for density. I've already emailed my doctor to find out my level and appreciate you all for sharing this message. And again, I did not know either. And in fact, I just had my mammogram done, I don't know, it was like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And now every state is required to tell you what your breast density level is. So there's 4 density levels, A, B, C, or D. A is the least dense, D is the most dense. So if you are a C or a D, you really need to have like a breast ultrasound done or an MRI done, because your breast density, that dense tissue is the same color. It appears as white on your mammogram, and cancer appears as white. So as Heidi says, it's like looking for a snowflake in a blizzard, right? It's very hard to see on a mammogram. So if you have a density level of a C or a D, you really need additional screening to make sure that you're good to go. And so the FDA, they require that all states, you must know what those levels are. And so I got my mammogram results back, but they don't say, it's about as clear as mud. So they don't say, okay, you're a level A, B, C, or D. They just said that I had heterogeneously dense breast tissue. So this is why the website My Density matters, because they have all this great information. So I went, and they say this is the language that they will say for an A, a language they say for a B, C, and D. And so for a level C, it was that heterogeneously dense breast tissue. So because I know of My Density matters, comparing that to my mammogram results and the actual test results, I know that I am a level C. So I'm going back to my doctor in December, and I have already sent a note that I would like to have further extensive testing to check that out. So information is absolutely vital. And even if you're in the medical profession, you may not know this. As Patricia says, woo, Brenda saw me. Woo, I'm an RN, and I did not know this. Category D here, and demanding an ultrasound this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that, my friend, is why we did that video, to raise money for metastatic breast cancer research and to make people aware and maybe even save some lives.
Very good.
Very good.
Hey, Brenda.
So this is one of the first chats that Brenna has gotten to be with us, and so I'm sure y'all have seen ears and going back and forth. So anyway, So yes, so that is kind of our recap. It's not a porch chat, it's a field chat.
Yeah. Very good.
Any words, or you're done?
I think I'm done.
Yep, we've
good.
about worn out our time with Jerry. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go do something else, and so is Miss Prissy over here. So she too is ready to go do something. So anyway, y'all, yeah, sign up for emails. Yes, she's very excited. Oh, I know. You ready to go for a ride? Yes. Okay. We're gonna take the floof for a ride. She gets very excited. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.